Hey, it's Comics, Beer, and Sci-Fi. This is the Bradcast, and I'm here with the Q and Jill Janice and Denver Rashawn, and we're here to talk about The Defenders for the second time.
Ha! It was so nice, we had to talk about it twice.
That's right. How you doing, Jill?
I should have been on the first one. That's why you guys are doing it again. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay.
Is that
yeah,
what
let's
That's
go
why.
with that.
Yeah, we'll go with that one. We'll go with that one.
Well, Jill, since you weren't here, what did you think about? We wanted to kind of get everyone's opinion on the pre-Defenders Netflix show from Marvel's. What would be your favorite Marvel
I
show?
love Daredevil. You know, I love his whole mentality. He's an attorney, which is up my alley, and he triggers all of his senses. So I just imagine just being a chick. Sorry guys, but dating him would probably be
You imagine
fantastic.
being a chick?
No, for
I'm
you
just
guys.
trying to go with
for you guys.
Jill.
Imagine being a chick.
Okay. Oh, you're telling us
Yeah.
to imagine being a chick.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, just imagine somebody who can tune into all their senses like that.
I don't even want to know where we're going with this.
But honestly, what
There's
kept
an
me
orgasm
interested
in there somewhere for you, Q. I'm pretty sure.
I thought it would be.
honestly, what kept me interested in all of those
I'll
series
have
though
what she's
was
having.
you know what? Daredevil.
Daredevil's
Dirty
food cake?
Daredevil.
Okay, I'm sorry. It wasn't as fast as last week, but we did.
Apparently, the only sense Q cares about is taste.
Or bad taste, as the case may be. So really, Jill, of the 4 shows, Daredevil is your favorite? You
You
didn't?
know, well, I like Luke Cage, but it was so graphic. There's so much fighting, and I love the fighting. But with him, it was just there was so much I couldn't even stomach watching some of it. And then with Iron Fist, it was there was a lot
No
of
one likes Iron Fist.
a
You don't
lot
have
of
to
that
explain.
show pissed me off. It just made me
Every time
mad.
you watched it?
Yes.
Like you wanted to slap the crap
Yes,
out
I
of him?
did.
Yeah.
I did.
No
Yeah.
one has to explain why they didn't like Iron Fist. You
Well,
just don't
And Jessica
like Iron
Jones,
Fist.
I mean, who doesn't love her, though?
Did you see that Netflix actually released that Jessica Jones is their most popular
I
Marvel
imagine.
series?
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Or most streamed, I should say.
Okay.
Do you notice how she's the only one who drinks like a sailor, though?
And talks like
Well,
and talks like one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Like
I think it's
Badass.
because she was on Gilmore Girls.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was one of...
Only you would know that, Brad.
And
I have
you
a
don't
wife. I know a lot of
And
things.
Breaking Bad, she was on. She was really
Oh, she
good.
was on Breaking
that's
Bad?
right. She sure was.
Oh,
the
okay.
artist on there.
That's a lot cooler show to know that she was on.
Breaking Bad?
Yes.
Yeah, she was because she was a baby on Gilmore Girls. It was
Probably.
before she had her nose done.
All right, so Jill, last time we talked about the first 3 or 4 episodes. What was your take on those early Defender episodes? Because personally, I thought they took a little bit too long to get going.
I think so, too.
I
yeah.
liked the first episode. Kind of reintroduced us to all the characters. By the second episode, I was like, okay, let's get this party started.
Yeah, it took them a while. In fact, the fact that they didn't all get together until the end of the 3rd episode really kind of made...
I was going to mention
all-
that. That pissed me off.
Right.
How do you have all these superhumans with all these abilities, and they're in the same general area, but none of them know about each other?
I didn't mind the fact that it took to the 3rd episode. I mean, because in the middle of that, you had...
Well, they were setting up all the various storylines.
It was like a
you
soap
had Luke
opera.
Cage,
I felt
but
like I was
you had
watching a
to catch
superhero
up.
soap opera.
Because you had to think about it, too. The only people that have connections with the hand was technically Iron Fist and Daredevil.
Correct.
So you had
Colleen
to bring...
Wing.
I'm talking about those shows were the only 2 that had connections to the hand.
No, that's
Jessica
not 100%
Jones did not deal with
true.
the hand.
Daredevil
Luke Cage,
did because
No.
Stick.
I said
Claire,
Daredevil,
but
and-
but Claire had experience with the hand
Right.
because of Daredevil.
Right. Be Daredevil and Iron Fist were the only 2
Oh,
shows.
oh.
So they had to incorporate
Jessica Jones and Luke Cage. They had to get involved. They were not involved with the hand in their first
And that
in
was
their
the
seasons.
best, that was the best source of humor on the
Yeah.
series too. Was Jessica Jones and Luke
Luke
Cage
Cage, oh,
both
yeah.
kind of rolling their eyes at all this mystical mumbo jumbo?
because that's not what they were about.
Right. Okay.
You know,
yeah, they were more gritty, realistic.
Stick down to earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't mind it taking to the 3rd episode, because in order for them, if it would have came in the 2nd episode, then it would have been, to me, unbelievable, because Jessica Jones even in her TV show, doesn't jump on the case when she first gets it. I don't want to take this fucking case, blah, 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 blah. That was like the whole thing throughout the first
Right,
season.
exactly. It was a little tiresome.
I think, though, it was cool that they brought them together like that, but they should have been aware of each other. I think they should have at least had knowledge, like,
Well,
hey, have you
half of
heard
them-
about this guy running around the streets with horns? What's this? You know, then they
Well,
didn't even.
they all knew
acknowledge-
Daredevil.
They all knew
They just didn't know
Daredevil.
who he was.
Right. They knew he was the devil of Hell's Kitchen. And then Luke Cage wouldn't have known Iron Fist because Luke Cage was in jail.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones and Luke knew each other. Jessica knew who.
Right. Well, they knew each other.
And Claire knew everybody.
Right.
Claire is like the Nick Fury of the
I love
Netflix
her.
universe.
I think
So.
she's the hottest one. She's the best one. I think she's the best superhero.
She's-
You know why? Because
the
when
reason why,
everybody
yeah.
is hurt and down, who's there? Who's patching them up, loving on them, taking care of them? They're not super perfect. They're
Well,
superhuman.
Well, we talked about that on the last episode.
Right.
How Claire and Colleen were really the best parts of Iron Fist.
Oh,
They-
Oh, yeah. Oh,
they
yeah.
made that show
And
good.
Madame Gao was
And Madame Gao. Yeah.
was really good, So
I want to be like Madame Gao. I want to hobble around and everyone think I'm weak, and then just put my hand out like, wah!
she was kicking.
Well,
I
they-
didn't expect that.
They just kind of stole that from Yoda. Now you do
yeah,
know.
yeah.
He did all the same stuff.
It's funny because spoiler alerts when they came out at the
Already,
end.
spoiler alert is supposed to be said before you spoil
Okay, well,
the show.
This is a podcast. It's all spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, this is one big spoiler here.
So when they all came out at the end to fight, like in the parking garage, I was like, well, what's she gonna do? Hit somebody with that damn cane? And then when she just was like flipping and doing all this shit, I was like, where the hell that come from? So it was good to see them all fighting. The fight scenes to me were very good, very well
Dark.
done. I know you didn't
Too
like
fucking
them.
It almost made me feel like I was watching something DC because it was like the dark green.
No. Well,
Yeah,
Little
it's
bit.
not,
right there.
not
Say
dark.
that one
like,
more time.
You couldn't fucking see anything. It was so totally done by somebody else. It was obvious that they could not find really good body doubles because it was so poorly lit. It was like a C or a D kung fu movie. In fact,
Really?
the only thing about it that I thought was good was that Jessica Jones says, "Am I the only one who doesn't know kung fu?"
No,
because
she
when
said, "Am I
she
the only one who
beat
knows
somebody,
karate?"
you saw her face. Boom, zing, they flew. That's all.
Well, that's all she could do.
It doesn't matter.
Well,
She
Luke
kicked
Cage
somebody, they
was
fly out.
there.
Well, that's true, but there was more kung fu in this show. I mean, come on. You have the hand. They're supposed to be superhuman, right?
Right.
And when it was 3-on-3, it was 2-on-1. Luke and Jess on old lady
Yeah.
Gao, and Daredevil took on two guys and was kicking ass the whole time.
Right.
In fact, if Elektra didn't come in at all, they'd have won and flushed them down the toilet if they didn't cheat and light the gas pipe on fire.
Yeah, that's true.
But how superhuman are they? They have abilities.
Well, my
They've
thing
been
was
training for 1,000 years.
more than that.
But
They've
you're
been
not
alive
flawless.
since freaking the beginning of pretty much time.
Well, you assume that because there was dragons still around.
right.
You get rusty.
You
Rusty
don't
my
get
ass.
rusty.
well,
Not if
okay.
you're training every day, you don't.
So
But
That-
not when
that
new
kind of
young
discipline-
blood comes along.
Please. You're so silly, Jill.
oh my god.
Well, let's talk about the two big deaths that happened before the final episode. So we have Stick
Right.
finally gets
yeah.
Well, Stick delivers
Stick finally
the
gets
first.
Stick
Stuck.
got the stick.
Well, but I
Stick.
can't. What was his name? The black guy.
the African guy.
What?
the white hat.
White
White
That's
hat.
what, that's what they
Yeah.
called him. The white hat.
Stick killed him, chopped his head off. That was very good.
But that wasn't really a significant death. I mean,
Stick,
he was introduced.
I don't consider
and then-
Sticks a significant death because I seen it coming.
Well, but it was a crisis, and it was a crisis in the story because that made it real for all of them. Because they're not killers. You understand? The four
Well,
of them
I understand
are not
that.
killers. They still have not killed anybody.
I understand that.
All the bad guys did all the killing,
I get that.
and
I
Elektra
do.
did all the killing. Our four heroes are
Iron
still
Fist
Boycha.
did some killing.
No, he didn't.
He killed a few people. Yeah,
No, he
he did.
didn't.
Because he was cleaning up bodies. And Iron Fist, not in the Defenders.
Oh, I'm talking about in this. I'm talking about this series.
I do
But he was killing.
get
There was a lot
that.
of killing.
I didn't watch the end of it because it sucked so hard.
Brad bailed. He's a quitter.
I admit it.
I do get that they were not killers, and the death of Stick kind of made it realistic. But to me, I knew, because soon as they said, "Oh, they want the hand for something," I said, "Well, you either gonna hide him, he gonna run, or you gotta kill him." Like, I already had said that in my head.
Yeah,
And
but he's a major character. He's been in.
Well, no,
he was
I
in
get that.
both seasons of Daredevil,
right? But
and he was
I
a
didn't
major
watch
character in this
Daredevil.
one.
I didn't watch
So-
Daredevil, so to me, he was just. I knew who he was from.
Well, once you found
Got
out
another
he
quitter
trained,
over here.
right?
Whoa, man.
Once you found out he trained them, right?
Right.
Defender was a standalone series because it gave you all the background you needed to be able to judge the story for itself.
Exactly.
But you did know, right?
You just knew who these characters were.
You knew Stick trained
Daredevil and Elektra.
Daredevil, and you knew that he met Elektra through an association with Stick. You come to later find out after Stick is killed, somebody's having a flashback. I guess it must be Elektra who's having a flashback of how they met and how it all went bad, and why seems to spare Daredevil.
Right.
But you also notice, and you don't notice until the final fight when the fuse is lit and we're running out of time, that Daredevil is actually sparing Elektra. Has anybody noticed that?
Well, let's not get to there yet. You're
Okay.
jumping all the way to the end. Let's talk about.
okay. I was talking about love.
Our good old friend Sigourney Weaver.
I was now. I seen it coming. Well, no, I'm gonna tell you, I
Never
did
saw
not.
it
I
coming.
never saw
well,
it coming.
they did.
She was a bitch and needed to die, but that's fine.
well,
They did the same trick in Luke Cage, where you
Yeah.
had what you thought was the main villain. Then they killed him off halfway,
right.
and they brought somebody else in.
Right.
Right.
That's true.
Well, but Elektra wasn't technically the. She wasn't. I don't consider her the bad guy. I consider her just. It's a twisted game of cat and mouse with Luke. I mean, not with Luke, with Matt, with Daredevil. That to me is what it was. You know what I'm saying? Like,
she could one punch everybody on the
exactly,
team
she
across
coulda-
the room.
She could have killed everybody.
Well, this is my question. Could she do that before she got resurrected?
I don't think she could have knocked out Luke before. But granted, she really only knocked him out after he was drugged.
That's true, because he was. Did you see
Right.
the sparks when he was slapping those swords with his bare hands?
Right.
That was cool.
Exactly. So technically, he was at a weakened state. So I'm going to say
Right.
that's the only reason she knocked him out, because he was already like loopy. Jessica Jones, we know, been knocked out before, and Iron Fist, he's a
Well,
pussy.
because she's not
and-
invincible. She's just strong as hell.
Right. You know, and Matt Daredevil, we already knew love kills.
Does anybody wonder though? Like
I'm
Luke
wondering right
Cage,
now, Jill.
He's so
That's a good
strong
question.
and solid. Is everything like that?
Jesus Christ! What the hell, man?
I don't think me, Denver, and Brad were wondering that at all. I don't
Well,
think so.
Well, like when you
the
see
novelty
him
of
and
Luke
Rosario,
Cage is not that he's super big and muscular. It's just that his
Skin is bulletproof.
Right,
It's
it's bullet-
impenetrable.
but that's solid. You know.
No banging on the table, please.
Did anybody else get mad that like there are all these superhumans?
I'm always mad,
But
Jill.
nobody
I
was
thought you knew
eating.
that.
Did anybody eat anything through the whole series?
Yeah, they ate when
No,
they
they
first.
didn't.
Yes,
When they
was
first
certainly did.
resurrected Elektra, she ate. What did she eat?
Blood.
She ate blood.
Yeah,
Say that.
yeah.
it?
When she was in that giant concrete
Yeah, but the
So
Hey.
after you come back to life, do you
They
eat?
ate in the restaurant.
Yeah, they on
That
episode
was a major
4.
focus of the show. They were
in the
hidden
Chinese
out in-
restaurant.
I'm talking about after you come back from the dead. Like,
well,
So you're
yeah.
talking about Elektra specifically.
You don't.
yeah, but I mean in general.
Sigourney Weaver ate
Constantly.
4 meals, at least 4 meals in that show, at least 4 meals.
Oh yeah, I guess maybe she did.
And she somehow magically
eating
showed
alone,
up.
by the way.
Yeah,
Right,
she
because
likes
she likes
to
to
eat
eat.
alone.
And if you remember in the last episode, she likes to eat alone because she was about to fight the Japanese speaking dude before the Black Sky
Why are we
brought
talking about
in.
her? I don't want to forget.
What
was with her taking those pills? Why was she so?
She was in pain.
She was
From
dying.
what?
At the beginning of the show,
'Cause
the
she's a
doctor
million
told her
years
she had
old.
about a
I
week
know.
to live.
But wasn't she?
Her entire system, every
shutting
organ in her
down.
body was shutting down.
Because it's been on this earth for 1 million years. That's
Oh,
what
really?
happens when your organs are old.
I was
they
like,
shut down.
is she getting like super menopause? I didn't understand.
Yes, exactly. She was having hot
The menopause
flashes.
all
She
came
was
on
having
at
hot
one time.
flashes, and the prednisone wasn't doing it. Absolutely the case.
There must have been some hot ass flashes. I mean, she been holding them off for a long time.
So what I want to know is, how come the women are old as shit and the men are looking young and snappy? That's what I want to know. If they all started,
genes,
they
baby.
all
It's the
started at Kunlun at the same time. They all took off at the
well,
same
no.
time.
But it's like
No, if
it's
they
like
started at the
vampires,
same-
though,
Like when
because
you die,
can
you stay that
start
same.
at different ages.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe
if
they
you
were
started
already,
as a young girl,
maybe
a
Guy
young
was
boy.
already old. Maybe
Right.
Sigourney Weaver was already
Right.
middle aged, and those two were young.
Okay.
Well, and two, I thought what was interesting is this was a very female-centric show
Exactly.
because all the villains were
We're female.
and the most interesting hero in my mind is Jessica Jones.
I agree
female.
with that. I agree with
I
that.
still think
You know.
Claire.
I agree with that. I think Jessica Jones had. I think. By the way, I just want to point out that scene when she pushes the car in there and she comes back.
that
realizing-
was great,
That was like
yeah.
one of the best scenes out of the whole.
Yeah, they all
series.
line up shoulder to
Shoulder
shoulder,
to shoulder
ready
for
to
the
fight.
first time.
Did you miss me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That
yeah.
was great.
So that was it was a good dynamic. So the female centric style was very good. I'm interested to see what they do with
I feel
Defenders 2.
inspired.
So
Now let's.
Did you
let's-
guys miss me?
oh, last week you pointed out about Misty.
Yes.
Oh,
So-
that bitch got to go.
You don't like Misty?
I don't like a word that come out of her mouth.
Oh my god!
That is one mean woman. And she says the stupidest fucking things that I don't know how anybody ever answers a question for her.
I think she's.
I think she's a great character.
and she's super hot. So
That
you,
too.
you can't
It's just
get rid
because
of
she's
that.
got them
Fucking
double D boobies
I'll
Hey,
take 'em.
and that hairline up the middle of her head.
I didn't like her hairstyle in this one. I did like her hairstyle better in Luke Cage. But I will tell you this: she still was fine as hell.
She's
Nah.
got.
She's got a
she's got
special place.
superpowers.
Oh yeah,
Ready.
that's like that.
Well, I like how Q is telling me that he did some research and found out she's going to become a bionic woman.
After Denver pointed it out.
Oh, okay.
So my research extended from Denver. Well, if you
Thanks,
look at,
Denver.
if you look at it, look at what did you tell me? Look up her comic book related
Oh, okay.
story. So I did.
Yeah.
And
I mean, don't get me wrong. I didn't like her in Luke Cage.
okay.
I was
did.
absolutely.
Well, but I don't think you were necessarily supposed to like her. She was kind
Not
of
in Luke
the-
Cage.
Yeah, she was.
She was supposed to be likable and Defender.
I think a little bit more.
Yeah,
so
I think.
I mean,
she was the
she
one.
was trying to be.
she was trying to play both sides.
That maybe
she wanted to be
that's- maybe I
friends
don't
with the
like
defenders,
duplicitous
but still do
people,
her
yeah.
job as a
she
police
couldn't-
officer.
because she couldn't. Like, people like that are career oriented. So, like, how Jessica Jones, if you remember in Jessica Jones, she always would say, "I don't know, go ask the green guy." Whenever somebody brought up something about destruction and they knew she had powers, I don't know, go ask the green guy. She would be referring to the Hulk. So to her, it was all out of her element. But she was just trying to stay grounded. I think Misty was trying to do the same thing. This is all out of her league. She still wants to hold on to some
Normalness.
normalness
It's
about
normalcy.
Yeah,
The word is
normalcy.
normalcy, not
Normalcy.
We
normalness.
make up our own words over here.
No, you don't.
Normalcy.
Not on my watch.
of life or being a
Sorry,
cop.
couldn't help myself.
Normalcy about being a cop.
Okay.
Which is I go,
Yeah, but
I
you
arrest the
can't-
bad guy. He tells me he did it. That's it.
Good cop, bad cop can't be the same cop.
Why not?
Well, don't forget, the defenders are vigilantes.
Exactly.
Police officers
Oh no,
are
I expected
always
the
against
captain
it.
to be a
You see,
prick.
the problem with that to me is they always call Batman a vigilante.
He is.
Okay, so why isn't Superman a vigilante? Why is it
Because
okay
you
for-
don't tell the most powerful
Why is
being
it
on the
okay
planet that he
for
can't do anything he the
Superman
fuck wants?
to be a hero? Which, if the government told Superman to stop, he would.
Well, you
But
saw-
if the government told Batman to stop, he wouldn't.
All right. Well, I think this conversation is going nowhere fast. So let's go to the.
It was actually a good conversation. We just got off.
let's go
We
to
forgot what we were talking
Thanks,
about.
Q.
let's go to the last episode.
Yeah.
And the building implodes,
Right.
and we assume that the
Yeah.
hand is destroyed, Elektra is
Yep.
destroyed,
Assume.
and
A lot of assuming.
our friend
Make an ass of
Daredevil.
you.
Well,
me.
we've seen a number of people dead. What the people we haven't seen dead, or their head cut off, or serious puddles of blood around them, are Madame Gao and Elektra, and who else? And we thought. We knew in our hearts that Daredevil would have gotten out of there, but we
I was
didn't
so
know.
hoping he was actually dead, just because Marvel never seems to kill their friggin' heroes.
That's true.
And it would have
Otherwise,
been
it'd be Game of Thrones.
It would have been right. It would have been so refreshing because when they
Well-
when
And
they
kill
killed
Iron
him, I was like,
Fist.
yes.
This is my thing. Wasn't where they were at? Wasn't that a gateway to Kung Lung? Right. So
No, it just happened to be the burial place of Shao
the,
Lao.
the dragon.
the
right?
dragon.
Okay, but isn't that in Kung Lung? right?
No, it
No?
just happened to be a cavern underneath the New York City.
Okay. Well, I thought.
See, what they were implying the whole time is that when they said they wanted to go home, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only way they can go home is with the substance, or what we thought was a doorway. It was not a doorway. It was just a sealed cavern. They tricked us through 7.5 episodes.
Yeah, because they were
I was
saying it was a
waiting for them
doorway.
to take us, go
To
through a
Kung
doorway.
Lung.
Oh my God, come on, we want to see it.
And
Show
that's
it to
what I
us.
thought.
Yeah. It's
But that's not what happened.
Kunlun is out of phase in our universe and only shows up every 15 years. And destroyed or intact, it's not going to show up again for what? Shit, I don't know, 12, 13 more years at this stage.
Please don't have Iron Fist on for 12, 13 more years.
Well, how that happens in the movies doesn't have to be. But he ain't going to mature, stupid bitch. The fuck's his problem?
Well, wait. I think he definitely did. Because at the end, when Daredevil tells him, you've got to pick up my mantle and protect the city, and he finally calls New York his home, and you see him perched up,
Right, he tricked us. Because
Maybe.
Q and I are like, oh my God, it's Daredevil. Oh, it's that whiny bitch.
Yeah. Because when his fist lit up, I was like, oh, it's just him. So, yeah, okay. So, this leads me to my next question.
Well, wait.
Go ahead.
We got to still
Right.
resolve the
Right, so
how did Elektra or I'm assuming Elektra is the one that got Murdoch out of
How did she
the
survive?
cavern.
That's a
well,
good
but
question.
see, we only know one way in. We don't know where that thing
was my
left.
thing. That's why I asked, was it in Kung Lung? Because my thinking was, what he told Danny, I thought what he told Danny was, if this is a secret interest to Kung Lung, just come to the front door and pick me up.
So maybe Danny Rand saved him as opposed to.
Or maybe Elektra just carried him through the front door. I'm telling you, that had
I
to
don't know.
be.
I'm surprised it wasn't a shtup session at the end of all that beating. Because they were him on top, her on top, rolling around in the water. I mean, you got to take those clothes off.
I mean, that was garbage water.
We don't know what it was.
Okay. But anyway,
We
I
don't.
think Elektra
You make a
probably
lot of
was-
assumptions, dude. It's really surprising.
Well, I think
Where
that
comes-
because, Matthew decided to stay with Elektra this time, I think she then in return was able to bring him back to life using the
Maybe.
black ooze.
Maybe that's what happened.
the dinosaur or the
Dragon.
dragon
Yeah.
bones. Because we don't know actually how that works.
No.
That would be because what are we going to see that? We're going to see in next season of Daredevil. They're going to show us how his ass got come back to life.
I
Well,
would
with
assume
that-
that's got to be.
It's got to be. Or unless.
And
Well, the Punisher is next, right?
Punisher is next sometime this year. They haven't released the date,
And
but it
then,
is 2017.
but see, we still haven't had Jessica Jones 2, Luke Cage 2, or Iron Fist 2. I
could go
would
without
bet
Iron Fist.
any amount that they wait, that they probably hold off Daredevil because it's the only one with 2 seasons.
Yeah, Daredevil I think is going to be the last.
So
Right.
they might hold off Daredevil to after season 2 of The Defenders.
No, I think they're going to do Daredevil 3 season 3 before Defenders
Season 2?
I'm pretty sure.
We might need some superheroes to get through this rain.
That Then how do you explain? Okay, so
Well, let me ask you this. I was not aware of the fact that the nun that they call for at the end of the show is supposed to be his mother.
really,
Yes, when they said, get Maggie.
yeah.
His mother's name in the comic book is Margaret.
Oh yeah.
And
Wait,
so-
isn't that? Oh, that's Martha. Never mind.
Just had to bring that up.
They only have one, they only
First
have
three
one name
letters are
for
the same.
moms.
Right. They're all related. They all have the same
We're all
mom.
Martha.
part
Batman's
of
gonna
the-
come
the-
in there. Why did you say that name? Okay, I'm sorry.
And then you guys can all be friends.
And so they think that season
Super friends.
3 is going to lead into the storyline
for Defenders,
where the Kingpin basically finds out the identity of Matthew Murdock of Daredevil.
Oh, no.
And goes through and basically
I hope
just
not.
destroys his life. He gets him disbarred. He starts going after his friends
I
and
hope not.
family.
I hate
and he
storylines
becomes
like
kind of
that.
a penniless,
I really
homeless, crazy guy.
I really hate storylines.
And then he has to kind of build him back, work his way back up.
Fair.
I really don't like.
You can't do that in
storylines
eight episodes. Can
Well,
you?
13 episodes for the
Daredevil.
for the regular.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't like when Arrow did it this year. It was kind of like okay, because like the whole city didn't find. Like, I don't like storylines where everyone finds out who the hero is. It defeats the purpose of having a secret identity. Like
Well, yeah, that's what he's playing off of, the fact that
it's
You know.
stupid. To me, it's stupid. I don't like it when villains.
well,
find
Daredevil
out.
was, I think, the one that storyline. I think was one of the original
storylines.
original
Yeah.
stories that used
See, I'm
that.
not.
Well,
yeah.
and we know he was in the suit when he was buried, and he's not in the suit
yeah, so
in
where
the
did suit
cot.
go?
So did they find him in the suit? Did somebody strip him out of the suit before they?
Well, I think
Rescued him
if
and put him
Elektra resuscitated him, I think she would probably be the one
to take him out the suit because
right.
Yeah,
she
and
would
then-
know that he keeps that.
So
secret.
so we're believing that maybe not Madame Gao, but Elektra was strong enough to let the cavern come down on her and
Well, she is
stand
the
up and
Black
walk
Sky,
through.
right?
What does that mean? I never got the.
Well, we never got to see the full potential of Black Sky, so I'm
Yeah,
hoping.
'cause she went back to Elektra.
But I
Yeah.
thought that was just, in fact, the way that the other fingers of the hand were talking about it. Well, whatever.
That's what they called him.
Yeah, that's what they call
Who was the
themselves.
middle finger? That's
I
what
was just
wanna
thinking
know.
I
that.
don't know. Yeah,
Daddy
better.
finger,
Well,
daddy
who's the
finger?
thumb? That's right. Because
That's the most important finger.
That
right
is.
there.
That is. That's the one that goes all
Well,
over the
technically,
place.
wouldn't it only be 4 fingers because the thumb is not considered a finger, right?
It is a finger.
They're all digits.
Yes.
They're all digits. So my
always 4
question,
fingers
my
on the
question
thumb.
is, they referred to it, and when they were chiding Alexandra about the whole Black Sky thing, they said, "This is your
Your
prophecy. This is that she made it up, that she found a warrior, that she brought somebody back." What I'm not clear about is, have they all died? Is it, do you have to die to be brought back? Do you, right? Because
Yeah.
they didn't all die of old age. Do
No,
they
they were all
just keep
killed.
taking the substance? I mean, based on your vampire
Yeah.
reference, we don't know. There's so many questions that
Well-
weren't answered. Could a second series answer these questions? And do we even care by the time this all comes back?
Well,
Because
that's got to be what Iron Fist season 2 is all about, right? Because I mean, his story was built around
Right.
the hand.
but if
right. So what is he going to do if there's
that
no
leads
hand
me-
left?
But that leads me to my next question.
he's the weapon.
Because if
He
you
has got
remember,
something.
Right.
but if you remember at the end of his first, well, you didn't see it. Into his first season, Madame Gao was talking to who? His sister. His sister was plotting revenge against Danny.
His who?
Danny's sister.
Danny doesn't have
No,
a
you
sister.
mean the
Danny's an
Mitchie,
only child.
The chick. You know who I'm talking
Meechum.
about.
Julie?
Meechum.
Oh.
Yeah.
Same difference. Same difference.
Okay.
They were born
His-
together.
his
They were
childhood
raised together.
friend.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
So she was plotting revenge with Madame Gao. So now does season 2 take place before Defender season 1? Or does it take place after?
I think it's
And
got to
the
be
revenge-
after
Yeah,
because
it's got to be after.
So
I
then
think
how do you
Defenders-
did Madame Gao take the substance and survive a collapsing building? Because the building
All she had to do was take one of those cross sections that they had cut up and were piling up on that red flyer wagon that they had down there, put one in her purse, hobble her ass up. She probably just floated, used the fucking force to float up the elevator shaft and take one of those big bone cakes and put it in her stash.
All right, so let's we talked about Danny, we talked about Daredevil. Where do we think Luke and Jessica are going to go from here?
Like a bread and butter or peanut butter and jelly.
Go to the chapel.
So where does that leave Claire?
I don't like this.
I thought Claire was.
I like Claire and Luke.
I thought
But
Claire
they're
was.
Those
a
are
lesbian.
like relationship
in the
goals.
book, Jessica and Luke get together.
Right. And they have a kid.
And they have a kid. Jessica retires because of the Registration Act in the comic book. I don't know. They're going to get back together. We know they're going to get back together. The only thing Marvel does is play off of love interest. That's the only thing they follow about the books.
Now, will Luke Cage and Danny Rand team up? Little power man.
Well,
and
they
Iron Fist.
actually Danny Rand made
Couple of
3 or
references.
4
he's
references.
He's pushing hard.
He was selling the hell out of it.
Yeah.
So I would be really surprised if they didn't do at least 2 or 3 crossover heroes.
That's
for
what I was
hire.
going to say, because we talked about it last week. Now that they've all met, Daredevil and Jessica had a connection, and Luke and Danny had a connection. But we already know Luke and Jessica had a connection before. So now,
Just as long as they don't put Danny and Matt together, two bland white dudes would not be interesting.
so do you
Snooze
have?
fest.
Yeah. So we know crossover episodes are probably gonna happen. So do you have them happen between Luke and Danny, Luke and Jess? Like, what dynamics? I say just do a crossover episode between, like, or let's make the last episode of each season like, leading up to Defender season 2. You know what I'm saying?
I think we probably won't see Matt Murdock, I don't think, in any of the other shows. Just
So it'll
because
be-
of his kind of cliffhangery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So it'll be like 2 episodes in Luke Cage where he's got to team up with Danny Rand, and like 2 episodes where he's got to team up with Jess. Then there'll be 2 episodes in Jessica where she's got to team up with Luke. You know, it'll be something like that to where, I need
Any
help.
3
Let me
ways?
call.
no.
As long as he brings the fist.
Well, and you still don't know what's going to happen with Punisher, right?
No, but they did release a new kind of animated trailer, if you will, for the
I've seen
Punisher.
that, but I didn't watch
and
it
it,
yet.
and it looks like Karen from Daredevil has a pretty significant role in the Punisher series, which makes sense because in season 2 she was kind of the one who led his defense, his legal defense. So that'll be interesting. Get her out of Daredevil, move her into
To something else. That'll be nice.
Yeah.
That'll be nice.
All right,
So,
Brad.
I do have a question though. So
Yes.
I don't know a whole lot about the history of the comics of the Defenders, but I was reading that Roy Thomas made it by accident because the Doctor Strange books were canceled, and it kind of evolved into this book. So I was just kind of curious as to how true the storyline is on Netflix to the
Well,
comics.
the Daredevil comic
Yeah.
book really has nothing to do with the Netflix
Right.
because it wasn't a Doctor Strange, the
The
Hulk.
Hulk, Silver Surfer, and
It was
Valkyrie.
basically like all the Avengers cast off.
Valkyrie, So like
They're just,
the new Defenders are this lineup only because they came out with the show. So
Right.
they was like, we might as well just stick them together
A little cross promotion.
to make everybody get ready for the show. But the original Defenders were Hulk, Silver Surfer,
And it was also
Doctor Strange,
50 years
Valkyrie.
ago.
Exactly.
So.
We'll
Back
never see
when
that.
the Hulk had
Revolving.
this big square pumpkin head, it was absolutely the worst haircut ever.
he had the mo going on.
Well, we
Yeah,
all know
just-
Marvel doesn't follow the books anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Those
right?
bitches.
It can't be all like some company we know out there.
That makes bad movies.
So what else?
I think that's it, Brad. Take us away.
have we
Road to Perdition is an Oscar
beat that
winner.
horse? That
Yes.
dead horse? Is it dead?
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, for Jill of Clan Janice, the Q Cast, the
How's it
Denver
going?
Cast, and the Bradcast.
We're all the family.
We're
not-
the cast of the
not Jill
cast.
Cast?
the cast.
No, it's the we're the cast of Defenders. There you go.
Yeah, right. There you go. This has been the Defenders podcast number 2 from Comics, Beer, and Sci-Fi, and we will, in fact, see you next time.
Yes, we will.
I think I'm gonna go try to drink some whiskey till I fight like Jessica Jones. See you guys later.